All right, we're back. Welcome, everyone. This is Aluminum Tarot. Thanks so much for joining today. I hope you're having a wonderful and fantastic. What day is it? Wednesday? Yeah, happy hump day. We're going to go ahead and read for the sign of Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising for the month of October 2025. I have already gone to shuffle the cards, and I think I'm actually going to make this a standard part of my readings. One of the reasons why is because I think it cuts out a lot of the time that I spend shuffling the deck and getting the cards out there. I think I'd rather just do that beforehand so I can just get more to the explanation and I don't waste any of your time. So I think that's how I'm going to do things from now on. So I promise I didn't fiddle around with the cards or any of that. I'm just, to be fair with you, absolutely burnt out and tired from doing, flat searches and all of that. I've had quite a busy week, a very, very fast-paced weekend, and it's going to be the same next week as well. So I'm conserving my energy and doing this as such. So anyways, if you like what you see here, please be sure to give a like, share, subscribe, ding the notification bell, and write a few comments as to how this applies to your life. Even if you want to say, hey, this is a great reading, or beat, sorry, it doesn't resonate. Hopefully less of the latter. But feel free to drop some comments below. Also, if you'd like to support me monetarily, feel free to drop a few quid into the coffee canister over in the description box below, which is just my PayPal account. That said, we're going to move on. Oh yeah, one other thing. Don't fall for the scammers. You know exactly how they operate. WhatsApp, WeChat, Facebook, what's the other ones? Telegram and all of those. They're usually just using people on the, YouTube Tarot to steal your money and then run off with it and not give you your reading. Then everyone's coming back to the tarot readers and saying, oh, well, I was supposed to have this. You told me to, reach out to you in this WhatsApp. It's like there's a sucker born every minute for someone who uses a WhatsApp number to get a tarot reading. That's not the way it works here. Typically, most people don't do it that way. You have to email them directly. So don't be a sucker. That said, we're going to go ahead. Let's get on with Leo. Leo, here's your story. So we're going to start with the Nine of Cups. This is the Nine of Submersibles in this deck. This is the Steampunk Tarot deck, which I find absolutely fascinating, and I love the imagery in it. Nine of Cups is your current energy, and the Two of Swords is the challenge energy. So I see you feeling more like in a very single, solitary energy right now. Very content with yourself. And the problem that you have right now, the challenge I would assume, is learning how to connect with other people. So that way, you can oftentimes feel like in some people who've been single for a long time, myself included, we just really don't give a shit about being in a relationship with anyone. But we do sometimes find it more challenging to reconnect after a long period of time. And sometimes it can be just for the simple fact that you've lived your life a certain way for so long that you become set in your ways, or you don't want to repeat things from the past. You don't want to have those same, relationship issues pop back up. You don't want to relive things from the past. So it's just like, I think I'd rather not. And I see this in your reading because we have here the Ten of Swords, which is clarifying your past energy, which is probably the reason why you're in this energy in the first place. At the bottom of the deck, you have the Queen of Swords. You've pretty much cut out a lot of stuff that no longer served its purpose. Possibly another individual that is breathing, living flesh, in this world. And you did this after a very painful ending, a very horrible ending where you felt like you were betrayed quite harshly by someone else. Clarify the Ten of Swords. Yeah. So Leo, you had a person in the past that was a narcissist. This is a King of Swords. In the reverse, oftentimes this often talks about someone who's in a high position of authority that abuses their power, and then additionally, plays mind games with you until they get what they want. This is the typical quintessential narcissist card, which talks a lot about people who are, they will gaslight you, They will lie, they will cheat, they will say certain things to string you along, and then they'll basically leave you in the dark after they have discarded you. Those are not really nice, happy people. Definitely not on the inside. So that was the painful betrayal that you had at the hands of someone who was, maybe an authority figure that you even looked up to. And now that that person is no longer a part of your life, you're kind of wondering what to do next. And that said, we'll look into the near future. You have the Seven of Pentacles in the reverse, which means that you've kind of come to a point in your life where you're not really sure what's worth investing in. I'm going to clarify that just to see what goes. Clarify the Seven of Pentacles in the reverse. Yeah. So you have the Justice in the reverse. Seven of Pentacles in the reverse, clarified by the Justice in the reverse, typically tells us a story. And you still have the Queen of Swords at the bottom. This is definitely your energy showing here. Are there, you feel that due to the unfairness that you have suffered in the recent past, you are not likely to invest heavily in something in the near future. So if you were in a relationship and someone absolutely fucked you over, you are in the you're in the energy in the future where you're looking at relationships in general and saying, I don't really think I want to give my all in all of this because of the unfair treatment that I've received in the past. I see that as your core energy. You have the Queen of Wands. That's also complementing the Queen of Swords, which tells us about someone who has lost a little bit of fire, zest, or zeal for something, whether that's relationships or whatnot. It could even insinuate someone who has basically, lost their own confidence, lost their mojo almost of a sorts. I'm going to clarify that. Yeah. Six of Swords. We clarify that with the Six of Swords, meaning that you're still moving on from a very painful and difficult situation. So in your specific, case, after experiencing this horrible ending with either a boss, a partner, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, whatever, you're now looking to the future with a lot less enthusiasm to go, quid zen with these types of people. And with that Six of Swords there, it definitely tells us that you're still in the process of moving on. And with the Queen of Wands, it also tells us the story of someone who is not quite fully over what's taken place in the past. I'm going to clarify what's known. So it's almost like I'm getting here. You have the Ace of Swords, and then you have the Four of Pentacles in the reverse. I get the image or the energy of a person who is basically, they've come to the realization that it's not worth holding on to anything anymore. And for the particular Leo that I'm dealing with, Leos tend to be very magnanimous. They tend to be very fiery, passionate about certain things. And with this Queen of Wands in the reverse, that's your energy. That can signal like you've been wounded at the soul level, at your very core, by this loss. And, one of the things that when you have a strong disconnect from someone that you felt strongly for in the past, or that you felt passionately about in the past, it can take a long time for these people to heal, especially for fixed signs. We have maybe like in the case of a Leo, when a Leo is not fucking with anyone anymore, they're basically done for. They don't want anything to do with those people, and they have pretty good strong cutoff game, if you know what I mean. And that's the same for Scorpios, same for Tauruses. So, me being a Taurus, if someone is out of my life, I mark them like do not touch, fragile, poisonous, there's something about a Taurus, the way we are, that we just practically know to end it with someone and to never let that person back in. It's like a lock on a big heavy lock on a big heavy door, and that person is on the other side of it permanently. Yeah, and it even says the same for the Aquarians. The Aquarians will just like disappear into the night. They won't care. They'll just eventually just cut themselves off and start speaking to someone else. What we have here in the outcome for the month of October, we have the Six of Cups in the reverse and the, what is this? The Hangman in the reverse as well. So I think after that long period of introspection, what you're doing is that you understand how this made you feel. You know, it's not about not wanting to see it any other way in this particular case. I think you understand, you fully know that you've been hurt. And you know that when someone has triggered you to feel this way, it's important for you to cut them out. Maybe you didn't do so in the past, and I actually pulled this card as I was speaking to it. So it's the Four of Cups in the reverse. It's 2 4s here. You're trying to get stable in your mindset to try to be able to deal with the challenge that this has placed you in, the ability to reconnect with people again. Four of Cups in the reverse normally talks about dealing with a missed opportunity in some ways. I sometimes see it as, with the Four of Cups in the upright, it's about, you know, ignoring things that are being offered to you. In this, I kind of see it as you realize that you haven't lost something that was of significance to you. While that person was actually a part of your life, that boss was a part of your life, those friends, those people were also a part of your life, you realize that now that they're gone, now that they have betrayed you in this way, you are looking to the future, saying to yourself, okay, I'm no longer stuck in this feeling of wanting to relive what I experienced with those people, with that lot. They did hurt my feelings, yes. But this is now water under the bridge. And you're telling yourself that perhaps now that I can let this go, I can kind of understand the feelings that these dredged up. I can move forward with a little bit more. I can finally let go of this with these 2 4s here, 4 of Pentacles, 4 of Cups in the reverse. And I can maybe start moving on to something new. Now I'm going to pull a card from the Steampunk Lenormand just to kind of see where this is going. Gosh. Okay, so Steampunk Lenormand, what's... So we have card number 23. This is about the mice, and this is quite interesting here. Now, for those who are familiar with the number 23, it's a number of chaos because 2 + 3 = 5. And it signifies the changes needed to take place in order for something to make progress. So I personally was born on the 23rd hour and the 23rd minute of the day. So I know all about this energy far too well. In both the good and the bad, definitely, I can say. But the number 23, there was a movie with Jim Carrey in it called 23. You can look at that if you want to. I haven't seen it. But we are going to look at the mice that are involved in this. The mice represent worrying fears, nagging energies, you know, unscrupulous types of people who tend to eat away at the foundations of certain things. You know how mice, they'll nibble their way into someone's house, steal their food, and, you know, shit all over the floor. That's typically what they do in this particular energy. So if there's been anyone or any groups of people in your life who have been proverbially creating train wrecks in your life, it's time for you to set out the traps. catch those mice and send them on their merry way back to hell where they belong. And I think once you do that, even if it's the things within your own mind, your own psychology, these thoughts and nagging issues that you constantly think about, it's time for you to catch and release those things, so that way they can become a thing of the past and you can free yourself up to invite new energies, and that will be much better for you in the long run. And I think that will make you feel a lot happier and nicer about things. So while you're in this 9 of Cups right here, it's like, yes, I prefer being alone. I'm comfortable. I'm happy. But I am having a connect. It's like a disassociation. It's like I'm not sure how to reconnect with people after experiencing such chaos. But I do believe that once you catch and release those mice, you will finally be able to learn how to reconnect with your head and heart, or with yourself and another individual. So that is going to be it for today. Thank you so much. This has been Aluminum Tarot. I hope you've enjoyed this reading, and I hope it's been of very use to you. If you like what you see here, please be sure to give a like, share, subscribe, ding the notification bell, chuck a few quid for the coffee fund, and I'm going to leave it at that. Anyways, as always, thank you so much for your time, energy, and effort coming into this channel, and contributing your lovely vibes to everything, hopefully. And until next time, love and light. Bye now.